watching. Okay, here we go. This is a review. I'll even write this at the top. So if you want to look at this online, all right, if you didn't quite get a few things today, even if you wrote it down, you can always look back on it. So review what for test 1, right? Chapter 1, and we'll just put it's form 2C. All right, let's look at number 6. All right, guys, you with me? It says find the length of DE. So it says find the length of DE. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to draw a little line segment, and guess what I'm going to call it? Yeah, how about that? Okay, DE. It says find the length of DE if D is between, whoops. It's number 6. I'll tell you what, let's do this. Let's not put the D right there just yet. It says find the length of DE if D is between points C and E. So let's put a C right here instead. Okay? So there's CE. It says D is between. When it says it's between, does it mean it's right in the middle? No. Not necessarily. All right? So I don't know where it is. Let's just put it right there. All right, let's put the D right there. It says D is between points C and E. And it says CD is 6.5. So this is 6.5 centimeters. And CE is 13.8. CE, which is the whole thing, isn't it? From here to here. And what is it? 13.8? Is that what I said? All right. Notice what I'm doing. I'm drawing these things out, aren't I? If you didn't do this, if you got it wrong, and you didn't do this right here, you didn't do enough. You understand? All right, you need to do this. I think it's very important that you do this because you can't really visualize unless you see the drawing in front of you a lot of times. And the question says, find the length of DE. So we got to find the length of DE. Let's just call it X. So what are we going to do? Look, the whole thing is 13.8. They give you this little bit. So what do we do with those two numbers? Yeah, we just subtract them. Now, you got to be careful because on these problems, you're not always going to subtract. They may give you DE. What if they gave you CD and DE? Then what would you do? You'd add them up, right, to find the whole thing. You follow me? All right, so it all depends on what they give you and what they ask for. So that's why it's good to draw the picture out so you can see what's going on. So you just subtract. So 13.8 minus what? 6.5. And that's what? That's a 3, and that's a 7, and there you go. So it's 7.3. We good? That was pretty easy, wasn't it? 7's kind of the same thing, except they actually draw it for you, don't they? I said it's kind of. It says not exactly, but it's kind of like what we just did. So let's draw that. We got a point right here, we got one here, and we got one right here. Now the key to number 7 is to understand what you did on 6. What'd you do? 6.5 and this 7.3, what do they do to make that 13.8? They do what? They add it together. That's right. This and this adds up to be the whole thing. You with me? Brooke, you with me? You're somewhere else. Look up here. So this is X, this is Y, and this is Z. Let's put the stuff in here. They say that this is 8, and this one right here is 2x plus 7. If that's all they told you, you wouldn't be able to figure out what it was. But they do tell you this thing right here, 4x plus 3. Now look what we did up here. The 6.5 and the 7.3, what did they do to become 13.8? What math did you do with these two numbers, this one and this one, to get 13.8? Come on, look, think what I'm saying. This and this, what did you do to these two to get the whole thing? You added them, didn't you? Okay, so look at this. What do you do with this and this to get the whole thing? You add them up. So watch, it's it's 8 plus what? 2x plus 7. Those two add up to be what? 4x plus 3. I'm telling you, I guarantee there's going to be something like this on a test, on the test that we do, okay? So watch, you take this segment right here and you add it to this segment right here to get the whole thing, right? So it's this part plus this part equals the whole entire thing. And now what do we do with this? Yeah, do the algebra, solve for x, right? And the question doesn't say just solve for x, does it? It says find xz. Now they say find xz with no line over top of it. What does that mean? That means something specific. What does it mean? Find the what of xz? The distance or the length. Exactly right. Find the distance or the length of xz. Well, we got to find little x first, don't we? So let's do this real quick. Add like terms, 8 and 7 is 15. Plus 2x. We don't do anything to the right side. Let's get x by itself. Let's subtract a 2x. We'll keep it positive, okay? Put it on the right side, so that cancels. Subtract a 3, put that on the left side. So look what I get. 4x minus 2x is 2x. Equals 15 minus 3 is 12. Divide by 2, x is 6. Is that my answer, though? Do I circle that? It's not. We need it, though. We're going to use it. That's right. So we're going to put it in for this thing right there, aren't we? Because I want to find what xz is. xz is 4x plus 3. So it's 4x plus 3. So you stick in the x. We just found it. It's 4 times 6 plus 3. Somebody doing their nails in here, need to put it away, all right? Or whatever you're doing. Is that you? All right. Well, it smells like it. That's some potent marker, man. It smells like alcohol. I guess that's what. Isn't that stuff when you do your nails? What, nail polish remover, I guess is what it is. Isn't it alcohol in that? Yeah. Didn't you realize I was smelling? There you go. So there's your answer. It's 27. That's all there is to it. It's really not that big of a deal. You take the two segments. Let's pay attention now. You take the two segments that make up the whole thing. You add those together, and it equals the whole thing. All right? And then you just, what's that? Yeah, the 8 means something. It's this little bit and this bit right there. You got to add them together, and that equals 4x plus 3. Set up your algebra. You solve for your x. You take that x, and you put it in for that x right there, okay, which is the whole thing, and you got 27.
Why did you, on 4x plus 3, I understand why you have to subtract the 3 and then do the same thing.
Right.
15. Why did you subtract the 2?
The 2x?
Yeah.
Because I wanted x on the same side. Because I have a 2x here and a 4x here. So I need x to be on the same side. So I subtracted a 2x from this side and I subtracted a 2x from this side. 4x minus 2x is just 2x. Okay? So I got that from this. I didn't just take this and drop it down. I actually did the subtraction. It just happens to be the same number as this. Okay? And then I divided both sides by 2 right here. You see that? Okay, divided that by 2, divided that by 2. Alright, we good with that? Look, I promise there's going to be one like this on the test. It's not that hard, though. Alright, I think we had this on a quiz, too, didn't we? Yeah? And a lot of people struggled with it then. Alright, you should have looked at that, learned from your mistakes, and you should be able to get it now. And everybody should be able to get this on the test. Agreed? Yes. Alright, let's go to another one. Here's number 8. It says a square has a side length of 2.3 feet. So I drew a square, didn't I? If they talk about a square, I draw a square. It's as simple as that. If they talk about a line segment, I draw a line segment. If they talk about a circle, I draw a circle. And you should do the same. Now it's a square. If one side is 2.3, tell me something about the other sides. That's right. They're all 2.3, aren't they? If it's a square. And they told us it was a square. So it says a square has a length of 2.3. What's the area of the square? Well, what's the area? It's just length times width, or you could think of it as what? Base times height. So what is it? It's just 2.3 times another 2.3. Or you could say 2.3 squared. Absolutely right. All right? Throw that in a calculator, and you should get about 5.29. Is that right? And it's in feet, so it's feet what? Squared. There it is. Easy as that. But sometimes you may not realize what it looks like and what you're trying to multiply, but you draw the picture and you fill it in, and that really should help you out. I think it does. Do you? You think it helps drawing the pictures? Absolutely. I think it does. Look at number 9. What's it say? It's a what?
Circle.
It's a circle. So what are we going to draw?
Circle.
How about that? Draw a circle. You may not need to, but we're going to. It says a circle has the circumference of 6 centimeters. The circumference is 6. What does that mean? It means the what? No, not the area. The, what do we say? What word would we use? D. Come on. The distance around, right? It's the distance around. Or it's the perimeter. You could say perimeter as well. But that's, so it's 6 around. You got it? The question says, what is the diameter of the circle? Well, watch. Well, let's not do that. Let's do this. That would be a diameter right there, wouldn't it? But we're not, we could do this. Do we have an equation for circumference? Yeah, circumference, you could write it a couple different ways. You could write it 2 pi r, or you could write it, what? Pi d. Which one would you use? I would use pi d, because what are they asking for? The diameter, right? You could always find the radius and then just double it. It's no big deal. But since they give you, since they're asking for diameter, let's plug it in. So what do they tell you? They tell you the circumference. What is the circumference of this? It's 6 equals what? Pi times d. We're trying to get d by itself, so what do? Divide by pi. That's right, because pi is an actual number, isn't it? All right, so we divide by pi. Divide this side by pi, so d is 6 over pi. If you wanted to leave your answer like that, it's perfectly fine. I don't care if you leave it in terms of pi. Or you could throw it into a calculator, and you get around 1.9 if you put it into a calculator. I'd accept either answer. That wasn't hard at all, was it? But you got to know something. What do you have to know? The formula for what? For circumference. You got to know that. All right? I've told you, you got to memorize those. Now, you don't have to memorize all those three-dimensional ones. Remember those? Like for the cylinder, the perimeter, or the, I'm sorry, pyramid, prism, and all those kind of things. You don't have to memorize those. But your basic two-dimensional ones, circumference, perimeter, area, okay, those things, yeah, you have to memorize those. Area of a rectangle, area of a triangle, area of a circle. Okay, those need to be memorized. You don't have to know the surface area of a rectangular prism. All right, you can, I'll give you that if you need it. You got it? Okay, let's move on. Number 10. See if I can finish this within the 15 minutes here. It says find the distance between A and B. Well, you could graph it if you wanted to, but you don't have to. Let's find where the point A is. What is point A? Look at your graph. It's 1, 2, 3, 1. So it's -3, 1. That's what I would do. I would write the point down. Look at point B. Look at your graph. Where is point B? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, 4. Yep. And what does the question say? Find the what? The distance. So guess what we're going to use? How about that? Let's use the distance formula. Again, this is something that you have to have memorized. You got to know it. I told you from the very beginning you have to have this memorized. It's not that hard though. Big square root, right? A couple parentheses, and they're both being squared, and you add those up. You can do that, can't you? Do that 15 times. Write it down 15 times. You'll have it memorized, I promise you. All right? What goes inside the first one? Subtract the what? Subtract the x's. That's right. So let's do that. Let's subtract the x's. -3 minus 4. What's in this one? Subtract the y's. Look at the y's. 1 and 4. Subtract them. 1 minus 4. Let's do this. That's -7 squared. And this is -3 squared. And again, it's still under a big square root. Don't forget the square root. Let's do this. -7 squared is what? Is it -49 or +49? It's positive because we're squaring a negative. Negative times negative is positive. Plus, what's this? +9. It's under a square root. What do you do with that 49 and 9? Just add them up. That's right. That's 58, isn't it? Keep it under the square root. Don't forget that. That's very important. And you just keep it like that. There's no reason to change it. No reason to change it to a mixed number, or a, not mixed number, but a decimal or anything like that. Just keep it the square root of 58. If you really, really wanted to, you could put it into a calculator if that really bothers you and write it as 7.6. But I would keep it like this, wouldn't you? You get it like that, you're done. That's all you got to do. Distance formula is not hard. You just have to memorize it. You got to know what numbers to put in. We good with that? All right. Let's go on to the next video. We got time to do a few more.